as things stand right now...
Go on, let's talk Man United. Finishing at Old Trafford, Man United 4, Everton 0. 2 goals for Rashford, 2 goals for Xerxes. We saw 2 goals for Højlund in the week when they won in the Europa League. So look, only 3 games, of course. It's so early on. But Kwaku, this will just give Man United confidence under Ruben Amorim. And I just saw there at the end of the game, something really small. But they went round the pitch and they started clapping the fans. And they almost did a little bit of a lap. And the players were smiling. And I watched that and I just thought, that's the first time I've seen some of these lads smile in what's felt like 2 seasons. So look, we can sit here and we can only say it's only Everton. Sure, they're at home. They got Arsenal a week. Bigger challenges come in 4 days' time. But I think a result like this will just put a smile on people's faces. And most importantly, your 3 centre-forwards have scored 6 goals between them in the last couple of days.
Unbeaten in 7 in all competitions, Manchester United, winning the majority of those games. Obviously, 4 of those games were under Ruben Nistelrooy, but he set them up nicely and they've taken it forward. I know the fixtures have been favourable to Manchester United. The most challenging test they've had in those fixtures has been Chelsea. They got a draw at Old Trafford. But you've got to give credit to Ruben Amorim in terms of starting the season and just getting his feet on the table without tasting defeat. I think where Ten Hag never really recovered, the Brentford game, the Brighton game, his first 2 games, they lost them and it was never really the same. Do you know what I mean? They've got the credit for the first season where they finished 3rd and they won a trophy, but you felt like the media was already against him. I think Amorim's got the media on side already. They've started pretty strongly. I know it's only Everton. I know it's only Bodo Glimt midweek. I know it's only Ipswich they've got a draw against. It was a poor game for Manchester United, but they're going in the right direction. And as things currently stand, Man City are 5th in the Premier League with 23 points. Man United are 9th on 19. So they're only 4 points off of Man City after a disastrous start to the season for Man United. And they're only... Brighton are on 23 points as well. So they're only 4 points off of the top 4.
I mean...
So...
So things can change. I mean, Abby, do you think Man United fans have a right to be excited, to be optimistic about the future?
Yeah, I mean, it's been so turgid under Ten Hag. Of course, they get this bounce kind of every 18 months to 2 years anyway when they get a new manager. But I do actually think the future is bright with Ruben Amorim. I think in terms of the way and the style of play that they would want to see at Manchester United, it is a proper style, which is what they didn't like under Eric Ten Hag. Again, how those players fit into it, we'll see. I mean, again, the sample size for today is they're playing a really, really poor Everton team. Amorim's first home game bar the one in the week in the league. So it's good that they're off to a good start. Obviously, I feel like if I was a United fan, they're not looking really at this season, are they? They're looking at what's going to happen kind of as the season goes on, see how high they can finish and whatever, but there's no real pressure on Ruben Amorim. They're going to be looking at what happens in the summer and then into next season. So
I completely agree with that, and I think you give the manager time to come and implement his
and
style of play.
how he can mould those players.
What I would say is I think being in the Europa League, I think gives him a really good chance.
But there's no expectation of him to do that. There's no expectation for him to go and win it at the moment. But I think what they're going to be looking for and excited to see is what he does with Garnacho, what he does with Diallo, what he does with Rashford. Rashford down the middle was a conversation we had a couple of weeks ago. Was he going to fit him into that? Would he go down the middle? How can you fit Garnacho, Diallo, Bruno, etc. all into it? Obviously, it's a good thing for Manchester United. They're all laughing. They're all happy again. It proves the point that it wasn't going anywhere fast with Ten Hag. I think Ruben Amorim is a very good manager.
Jermaine, Man United never won a Premier League game by a 4-goal margin under Eric Ten Hag. They've now done it in Ruben Amorim's 2nd Premier League game. We spent, it felt like 2 years talking about Ten Hag and tactically it's not good and players weren't performing and there was attitude problems. Can it sometimes be when you're a football club that a new manager comes in and all of a sudden you go from being a bit down in the dumps, a bit sulky, to just new manager, new ideas? That they call it the bounce back ability, don't they? Can just a new manager, can it change the players' mindsets, the players' mentality? Is that what we're seeing at Old Trafford already?
Yeah, 100%. Because when a new manager comes in, ultimately everybody's on trial. You probably get a few players who are nailed down. Onana, Fernandes, your captain, a few players nailed down. But everyone else is on trial for their place. So when they step out on that pitch, they're giving it 110%. They're giving it the maximum. They're playing at the best. They're going to fight for everything. Where under Ten Hag, it's stagnant. They know who's playing week in, week out. And, probably some of them might not get along with the manager. That always, plays a part. Where your new manager, you like him already because there's nothing to not like yet because you don't get to know him. He's not probably upset the apple cart yet. So there's a lot of things that you get the bounce from when you've got a new manager that comes in. After that honeymoon period comes in and things start to settle, that's when you start seeing where the team's actually at. We see like maybe four or five games, a new manager, you're going a great run, and then after that, a couple of bad results start creeping in, and then you start seeing that decline. But it's looking good. I think scoring 4 goals is going to be a massive, massive boost for Rashford, Man United in itself, and Amorim's tenure.
Players nervous though. Some players who may be a little bit out of favour. Some players who look at the system the manager plays that maybe doesn't suit their traits or attributes. Are there some players looking over their shoulder when a new manager comes in?
Yeah, of course. Especially when he plays for you at the back, and now Ahmed, who's a winger, who's now having to play wing back. He would have looked at that, knowing that he likes to play with that formation, and thinking, I'm not a wing back. Is he going to play a more defensive player there? So in the back of your mind, you are thinking, is my place now in jeopardy? Am I going to starting now? But he's finding a way to get those players in. So yeah, there is, when a new manager comes in, there is always that thought and discussion that your place might be taken, because he might not like you, he might not like your style of play for his formation. You could be a great player, but because you're maybe more attack minded, he might I need a bit more defensive, cover the way I play, my style. So yeah, it's frustrating at times.
What can United achieve this season? I mean, Abby makes a good point that, when the new manager comes in, he's got so much to sort out. It's all about implementing the style of play, improving players, and signing players as well. So we'll have a much better idea of where they're at maybe next season, or maybe even the season after. But in terms of what they can achieve this season, when you look at the squad they've got, Jermaine, you look at the rivals, whether it's Chelsea, Spurs, Newcastle, Villa. I mean, in the league, what can they do? And also in cup competitions, what can they? I mean, can United finish this season finishing fourth under the Europa League?
No. I can't see Man United finishing fourth. I don't think that. Europa League, they're one of the stronger teams in the
United and Spurs are the two favourites.
Yeah, they're one of the stronger teams, so they could win. Get to the final on that, and maybe win it. It's going to be tight with Spurs as well. But top four, absolutely not. They're just not there yet. Amorim's going to have to get some new signings. I think the midfield is still a little bit of their probably weaker point with Casemiro. I know Maino is a great player for them, but I think that can get overrun at times. Going forward, they've got good attacking players.
But when you look at the thing is, I sometimes look at this Man United team, and I'm sometimes like, there's no quality in there. And then when everyone gets fit again, you look at the United team, you think, hang on a minute, they could have a back four of Masraoui, Dillet, Martinez. They got attackers like Rashford and Fernandes and Garnacho and Højlund.
Great players.
I can't quite work out where they should be.
There's quality. There's definitely quality there. I look at Man United and I just think. This group of players have already shown over the last 2 seasons they are a good cup team. In Erik ten Hag's first season, got to an FA Cup final, won the League Cup. Last season, won the FA Cup. This season, there is no reason why they can't win the Europa League. I actually back them to win the Europa League.
Even the Carabao Cup, obviously, City have been knocked out. They go down to Spurs next, be a tough one. But
they've just got a good chance to win. I think they should prioritise the Europa League, because I do think that English teams are going to do well enough in Europe that will get the 5th place to qualify for Champions League. So that will knock everything back. So finishing lower, you can still get Europa League or Conference League football. But I think Manchester United have got a great chance to win the Europa League. There is no reason why that can't be the path to Champions League football. I think that should be the path. And I think with this squad they've got right now, not like you can bypass the league, but if Man United don't finish in the top 4, it's not a travesty.
We have the Marcus Rashford conversation almost every week, don't we? But I'm just sitting here doing an interview after the game. Feels like I haven't seen him doing an interview like this in a long time. We don't seem to hear that much from him. We know, he's looked like a player that's maybe not too, I haven't seen him smile for about 3 years, but he looked like he was smiling. No, I did see a smile today on the pitch. Maybe not this interview, but he wants to be on the Final Whistle show, doesn't he? But Jermaine, where are you at with Marcus Rashford in terms of what his best position is, and why do you maybe think that we have seen him struggle quite a bit over the past couple of years?
Well, look, his best position is obviously out on the left. He likes to cut in, and that's his favoured position. But I think we haven't seen the best of him under Ten Hag. We didn't see the best of a lot of players, especially going forward. They were struggling for goals under the formation and the style that he wanted to play. And a lot of the top players was finding it difficult to create and to get on the score sheet. I think they went like 4 games without scoring goals, Man United, under Ten Hag. So it's just about getting a new lease of life and being happy, getting a little bit of confidence back, scoring a goal, and that's what he's done. As an attacking player, confidence is probably one of the main factors in playing well. As soon as you got that little bit of confidence in you, you're going in every game, week in, week out, thinking, do you know, I'm going to score this week because I scored 2 last. I'm going to score this one. When you start going on droughts, things start feeling different. The goals look smaller. Everything seems to be harder than when you got a little confidence by a little bounce. Everything just seems to work.
I mean, It looks like, though, he's 2 games in a row in the Premier League. It looks like Rashford is going to be a number 9. It looks like he's almost going to give him a run, and he's scored 3 goals in 2 games now in the league. So it looks like he's going to be giving him an opportunity there. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens there in terms of Manchester United.
That's how you quieten down the noise as well. Remember, the media had the knives sharpened for Marcus Rashford because he went away to New York and he was enjoying himself and he wasn't playing well and he got given time off. But the way you quieten out that noise, you score goals, and all of a sudden nobody talks about that. Say Marcus Rashford has gone on the drought, he played poorly and he wasn't scoring goals. All of a sudden that becomes part of the narrative. So as a footballer, I get it that the media is really, really harsh in this country and unfairly so towards footballers. But you do have the power to go on the pitch and quieten out that noise if you perform, and that's what Marcus Rashford's been doing. So credit to him.
I think with him, carrying Manchester United on your back is a very heavy thing to do, and that is who he's been. He has been their poster boy, and if things go wrong, they look at the manager and they look at Marcus Rashford. It's like when Harry Maguire was captain. Not everything that was going wrong at Manchester United was Harry Maguire's fault either, and he got absolute pelters for it. So it's a lot to be Marcus Rashford. I do understand that. I think that with that squad, though, there is a shout for him to carry on playing down the middle, like we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. They have got quality. When you have a look at the squad, like there are areas where they do have quality. I just think maybe the depth isn't there when you then have a look at maybe older players like an Eriksen who's getting on now, the Casemiros, etc. But in terms of like the actual nucleus of the squad, there is potential there. It's just finding it and bringing it out, which I think having a manager like Ruben Amorim will do. But yeah, again, I'm interested to see what he does to some of these players, like what he turns Ahmad into or Garnacho into. And yeah, also Fernandes as well.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.